Pentagon just dropped news that has every major military power scrambling to rewrite their playbooks. While the world was distracted by everyday chaos, the United States Air Force quietly rolled out something that defense analysts are calling a complete game-changer: the second B-21 Raider. And here's why this matters more than you think. This second aircraft isn't just another test plane, it's proof that America has cracked the code on mass-producing invisible death machines. And what I'm about to show you will make you realize why every major power on Earth is now playing catch-up to a game they didn't even know had started. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly why this second B-21 reveal is sending shockwaves through military capitals worldwide, and why some defense analysts are calling it the most significant strategic shift since the Cold War ended. Let me take you back to November 2023. The world watched as a triangular shadow lifted off from a California runway, marking the first flight of the B-21 Raider. Defense nerds like me lost our minds. This wasn't just another plane. This was America's first new stealth bomber in over 30 years, designed to replace the aging B-52 that first flew when your grandparents were kids, and the legendary but limited B-2 Spirit that cost more than some countries' entire defense budgets. The B-21 promised to be different: cheaper to build, easier to maintain, and so advanced that its capabilities remain classified to this day. But here's what everyone missed in all the excitement about that first flight. The real question wasn't whether the B-21 would work. The question was whether America could build enough of them to actually matter. See, the B-2 program was both a triumph and a tragedy. 21 aircraft. That's it. Each one cost over $2 billion, and maintaining their stealth coatings was so complex that they spent more time in hangars than in the sky. Military planners knew that 21 bombers, no matter how advanced, weren't enough to deter China's growing military ambitions or Russia's increasingly aggressive behavior. They needed a fleet, not a handful of technological marvels. And that's exactly what this second B-21 reveal proves is happening. The second B-21 Raider didn't just appear overnight. For months, aviation photographers with telephoto lenses pointed at Northrop Grumman's plant 42-inch Palmdale, California, started noticing something strange. More security barriers, additional protective coverings, and, most importantly, aircraft-shaped objects under tarps that weren't there before. But it wasn't until General Thomas Bussière, the head of Air Force Global Strike Command, casually dropped a bombshell during a defense conference that the pieces started falling into place. Quote, "A second developmental test aircraft would fly shortly," end quote. Just like that. No fanfare, no press conference, just a matter-of-fact statement that sent defense analysts into overdrive. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. Intelligence sources and satellite imagery analysis suggest this isn't just about 2 aircraft. Multiple defense contractors with security clearances have been whispering about something that sounds almost impossible. Reports indicate that nearly 40 B-21 Raiders are currently in various stages of construction. 40. Let that sink in for a moment. While China's H-20 stealth bomber program has managed to fly maybe one prototype since 2023, and Russia's PAC-DA program is so delayed that some experts question whether it even exists anymore, America has quietly been building what amounts to an entire stealth bomber fleet in secret. The production speed is what's really blowing minds in the defense community. Remember, it took nearly 2 decades to build 21 B-2 Spirits. The B-21 program has apparently figured out how to compress that timeline so dramatically that they're approaching B-2 numbers in just a few years. How is this even possible? The answer lies in something called digital twin technology, which sounds like science fiction but is very real. Engineers create perfect virtual copies of every component, every system, every manufacturing process before they build a single physical part. Problems that would have caused months of delays on the factory floor get solved in computer simulations. Manufacturing processes get optimized by artificial intelligence. Augmented reality guides technicians through complex assembly procedures. It's like comparing a Tesla factory to a 1,950-second assembly line, but the most terrifying part for America's competitors isn't the technology. It's the implications. Every intelligence agency in Beijing and Moscow is asking the same question right now. If America can build 40 stealth bombers this quickly, what else are they building that we don't know about? The psychological impact alone is staggering. China has been betting their entire military modernization on the assumption that they could match American capabilities within the next decade. The B-21 production surge suggests that assumption might be catastrophically wrong. And here's something that should keep Chinese military planners awake at night. The first B-21 has been flying approximately twice per week since its maiden flight, accumulating test data at an unprecedented rate. Each flight validates systems, tests capabilities, and proves that this isn't just a prototype anymore. It's a proven weapons platform that's ready for mass production. Meanwhile, Russia's defense industry is so crippled by sanctions and brain drain that they can barely maintain their existing aircraft, let alone develop new ones. The strategic balance isn't just shifting, it's collapsing. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming, and it's the reason why military strategists are calling this the most significant development since nuclear weapons changed warfare forever. This isn't just about America building more bombers. This is about America fundamentally rewriting the rules of global military deterrence. And the implications are so massive that they're forcing every major power to recalculate their entire defense strategy. Think about it this way. For decades, military planners worked with a simple equation. America had overwhelming firepower, but it was concentrated in predictable places. Aircraft carriers that everyone could track, air bases that satellites could monitor. Even the B-2 fleet was so small and so expensive that using them required presidential approval for anything beyond training missions. Enemies could plan around American capabilities because those capabilities were finite and visible. The B-21 fleet changes that equation completely. We're not talking about 21 precious aircraft that get treated like museum pieces. We're talking about potentially hundreds of invisible bombers that can appear anywhere on Earth with virtually no warning. Each B-21 can carry both conventional and nuclear weapons, can gather intelligence while remaining undetected, and most importantly, can operate from bases that adversaries didn't even know they needed to worry about. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something that most people completely miss. The B-21 wasn't just designed to be stealthy. It was designed to be what engineers call an open architecture system. Translation: every B-21 can be continuously upgraded with new weapons, new sensors, new capabilities, without requiring massive overhauls or redesigns. This means that the B-21 fleet will become more dangerous over time, not less. While China's H-20, if it ever gets built, will be locked into whatever capabilities they can develop today, American B-21 second will be incorporating technologies that haven't even been invented yet. And there's something else that's absolutely blowing my mind about this whole situation. Defense contractors are reporting that Northrop Grumman has been taking strategic losses on the B-21 program. Over $2 billion in reported losses as of 2025. But industry insiders understand exactly what's happening here. This isn't incompetence. This is Amazon's playbook applied to weapons manufacturing. Lose money up front to establish production capabilities that competitors can't match, then dominate the market for decades. The financial commitment behind this is staggering. The Department of Defense allocated over $10 billion to the B-21 program for fiscal year 2026 alone. But here's the kicker that should terrify anyone betting against American military dominance. Despite this massive investment, each B-21 is projected to cost approximately $550 million, compared to the B-2's price tag of over $2 billion each. America isn't just building a better bomber, they're building a cheaper bomber that they can produce at scale. The geopolitical implications are starting to hit different countries in different ways. Allied nations are already expressing interest in potential cooperation agreements. Australia, the UK, and Japan are all quietly exploring how they might integrate B-21 capabilities into their own defense planning. Meanwhile, China just announced an acceleration of their H-20 program, and Russia is making increasingly desperate claims about their own bomber development that nobody really believes anymore. But the most terrifying aspect for America's enemies isn't what they can see, it's what they can't see. If 40 B-21 second are in production, how many are actually operational right now? How many are already stationed at bases around the world? The aircraft's stealth capabilities mean that China and Russia literally cannot know how many American bombers might be within striking distance at any given moment. That uncertainty changes everything about military planning and crisis management. So, what comes next and why should you care? Because what's unfolding in the B-21 Raider program right now isn't just another chapter in military aviation history. It's the early stage of a transformation that could redefine how the United States projects power across the globe for decades to come. The next phase isn't simply a continuation of what's been happening. It's going to be far more game-changing than anything we've seen so far. To understand why, we need to look at something defense insiders are calling the production pipeline. Reports indicate that nearly 40 B-21 aircraft are already somewhere along the assembly line. That's significant because it signals the program is moving toward a milestone known in military procurement as low-rate initial production. In plain English, that means the hard part, figuring out how to build these stealth bombers reliably and efficiently, has been done. Now, the process shifts to scaling up manufacturing. Industry whispers suggest that within the next 18 months, we could witness the rapid rollout of B-21 numbers 3, 4, and 5 in quick succession. And the US? Air Force isn't wasting time figuring out where to put them. 3 bases have already been selected for operational deployment: Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota, Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, and Dyess Air Force Base in Texas. Ellsworth is already undergoing significant upgrades: specialized hangars, advanced maintenance bays, and climate-controlled facilities to handle one of the most advanced aircraft ever built. Whiteman and Dyess are next in line. Here's where it gets interesting. Officially, the US has committed to a fleet of at least 100 B-21 Raiders. But the infrastructure now being constructed hints at something much bigger. The scale of construction contracts, the number of maintenance bays, and the logistical planning all point to the ability to support far more than 100 aircraft. Some defense analysts argue that to maintain credible deterrence against both China and Russia, while still meeting global commitments, America may need between 200 and 300 Raiders. Based on current production capacity, that's not only possible, it's increasingly plausible. And then there's the part of the story most people haven't connected the dots on yet: the B-21's open architecture design. This isn't just about swapping out weapons or sensors for better ones down the road. Open architecture means the platform is designed to evolve continuously. It's modular, flexible, and future-proofed. Behind the scenes, defense contractors have reportedly been working on unmanned versions of the B-21. Imagine this: stealth bombers with no human crew, able to remain airborne for days, coordinating seamlessly with manned aircraft, or even operating as autonomous strike teams. These unmanned raiders could penetrate enemy defenses with zero risk to pilots, perform reconnaissance in the most dangerous airspace on Earth, or act as decoys for their manned counterparts. The psychological effect of such a capability is enormous. Right now, in military planning rooms from Beijing to Moscow, Tehran to Pyongyang, strategists are running scenario after scenario and coming up short. How do you defend against an aircraft you can't see, that can appear anywhere at any time and strike with pinpoint accuracy? Traditional air defense networks, built over decades and costing billions, are suddenly close to obsolete. Surface-to-air missile systems designed to track conventional bombers are almost useless against a stealth platform with the B-21's capabilities. This isn't just a technological leap, it's a strategic narrative shift. For years, authoritarian regimes have operated under the assumption that the US, bogged down in bureaucracy and cost overruns, had lost its ability to innovate at scale. China's military modernization has been built largely on copying, adapting, and mass-producing versions of US tech. The assumption was that America could no longer outproduce or out-innovate them. The B-21's rapid development and now accelerating production blow that assumption apart. The ripple effects are already visible. NATO allies are reassessing force structures around the expectation that the US will soon possess overwhelming long-range bomber capability. Pacific allies like Japan and Australia are accelerating modernization programs, not because they doubt American resolve, but because they want to integrate with these cutting-edge capabilities while the partnership window is wide open. Even historically, neutral nations are quietly rethinking their defense postures in light of the new strategic reality. But perhaps the most profound impact of the B-21 program is in the realm of nuclear deterrence. For the first time since the end of the Cold War, the United States is meaningfully expanding its strategic bomber fleet with a platform capable of delivering both conventional precision strikes and nuclear payloads. That dual capability creates a powerful ambiguity. Potential adversaries can never be certain whether a B-21 sortie is carrying conventional munitions or a nuclear weapon. In the calculus of deterrence, that uncertainty is a weapon in itself. So what comes next? If production continues to accelerate, we could see operational squadrons equipped and ready years ahead of the original timelines. If unmanned variants enter service, the concept of a bomber fleet could evolve into something more akin to an autonomous aerial strike network, capable of operating 24/7 anywhere in the world. And if the US builds toward the higher estimates of 200-300 aircraft, we're looking at a sustained strategic advantage unmatched since the height of American air power dominance in the mid-20th century. The B-21 Raider isn't just another weapons platform, it's a signal. It tells allies the US is serious about maintaining the edge. It tells adversaries that their air defense playbooks are already outdated, and it tells the world that innovation, when paired with industrial muscle, can still change the balance of power. The next few years will determine just how far this transformation goes. But make no mistake, the B-21 story is only beginning, and the ending will likely reshape the global military landscape in ways we're only starting to imagine. Here's the big picture everyone needs to understand. We are witnessing the explosive birth of what military historians are already calling the stealth bomber era. If you think battleships or aircraft carriers once defined global power, invisible bombers like the B-21 Raider are now poised to shape military dominance for decades. Why does the second B-21 Raider matter so much? It's not just another prototype, it's proof that the US has solved the hardest problem in military aviation: how to build stealth bombers at scale. This isn't just a one-off technological leap, it's a signal to allies and adversaries alike that America's leadership in advanced weapons is not plateauing, but evolving into something much more formidable. If today's story about the B-21 opened your eyes to how fast military technology is evolving, this is just the beginning. Hit that subscribe button, because the next wave of analysis will cover China's urgent efforts to play catch-up, Russia's struggles in defense manufacturing, and even some classified capabilities of the B-21 that have insiders buzzing, the stuff we still can't talk about in public. The stealth bomber revolution is just starting, and you'll want to stay tuned for what comes next.